They've now got together into 4 systems. We're part of South West London ICB. How much does South West London ICB spend in 1 year? If you don't know the answer, just shout out, have a guess. In 1 year.
1.5 mil.
What's that? Million, billion? Okay, I'll tell you. 3.5 billion pounds. In 1 year. I work very closely with South West London and St George's Mental Health Trust, Springfield Hospital, some of you might know. Their annual spend is around 650 million. SLAM, which manages Croydon, has a spend close to £1 billion a year. How much of that money is actually making its way down to organisations like the Croydon BME Forum? I'll tell you, less than 0.5%. Not even 1% of the budget. Less than 0.5% of the budget. Follow the money. We can talk about PCREF and IAC and all these things till the cows come home. But the money is not going to move in that direction. Follow the data, and this is where EMHIP comes in. When we first got involved in EMHIP, some of you might know my daughter, Hosea. When we first started this work, 2008, my daughter was 7 years old. She's now 25 with 2 children. And the data has not shifted in that period at all. In fact, the data in some cases has got worse. And when I talk about the data, how many black people being sectioned? How many black people being conveyed to hospital in police cars? How many black people being over-medicated, restrained, coerced? How many black people not accessing services? This data hasn't shifted, and in some cases has become much worse. And who is this impacting overwhelmingly? It's people that look like us. Yet less than 1% of the money is going to tackle that. Let's not get confused about what's going on. I'm glad that Brother Andrew's come back into the room. How many people in this room represent the institutions at a senior level? None. There's no senior level representative here today. Because they know what we're going to do. Because I've been doing it in Wandsworth for 16 years. We're going to come together, we're going to talk about the data, we're going to talk about PCREF, we're going to talk about IAC, and nothing's going to change. I sit on the London Mental Health Board. The London Mental Health Board lacks leadership, will, and capability. I look around on that board, first of all, it doesn't look like anybody in this room. They do not have the skill, the capability, or the understanding, or the desire to address the issues that we're dealing with now. I've now become a grandfather, and the experience that my parents had, I'm from Pakistan. Some of you might be old enough to remember Paki bashing in the 70s. And people like my parents and my mom were abused. I was abused. I was afraid to go to school. My children were abused in the schooling system. My children as black and brown boys and girls. And now I've got grandchildren who are in the pipeline for this same experience. Follow the money, follow the data. If all of us decided that we're going to get up and go to the South West London ICB board meeting next week, they'll soon change their flavour. But we're not going to those meetings because we're gathering here, having cups of tea. I do it all the time, so no disrespect, Andrew. I do it all the time. Come to my conference on the 7th of November, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We're not affecting the change. And we're not affecting the change because the people who are running the system are not really interested in affecting the change. And primarily because the institutions are not built to build the change. How is our mental health system built at the moment? If you want a mental health service, there's only 3 ways you can get it. How do you get a mental health service? Go to your GP, A&E, or the police. These are the 3 ways you currently can get a mental health service. A referral in, through those routes or out. What we need is for that money not to be less than 0.1%. We need that money to start shifting into our churches, our mosques, our temples, our community groups. Our public institutions employ tens of thousands of doctors, psychologists, nurses, occupational therapists. They need to move out of the institution and into the places where we all live. So we can get help quicker, sooner in the ways that we want. But our system is not built to do that. Our system is not built to do that. Who knows about NHS banding and salary? What is band 9 and above? We're talking about over 90,000, 100,000, 150,000. How many people in the ICP system are band 9 and above? 167 people. That's where the money's going. To preserve and protect an elite group of management. Think global, act local. So there's something really important about how do we mobilize. I don't want to see us come back here, come to my conference on the 7th of November, and we have the same conversation that I've been having, that Malcolm's been having, that people have been having for 40, 50 years, the same conversation that we're going to have today, and we're going to have next year. And it looks like my grandchildren are going to have when they get old enough to come to the conference. We need to mobilize and organize and turn up where the decisions are being made. Where the decisions are being made and say, we demand. Look at your tax, your pay slip at the end of the week, at the end of the month. Look at your pay slip at the end of the month. How much of your money, our money, is being taxed? 25, 30, 35%. Where is that money going? South West London ICB, SLAM. This is public money, these are public institutions. So we're giving 30% of our income to the public institution and we're getting back from our community less than 1%. Let's wake up and understand how the system has been structured. It's been structured to keep us in this nice place and have this conference every year. It's been designed to do that. So we need to think about how we're mobilizing and how we're organizing. And that's not an old story. Those of us who know the political history, anti-colonial history, know the only way we free ourselves is through unity and through mobilization. So these are the things we know. So we need to think about that, about how do we do that. So the program that we managed to have, and in 4 years, it's been the most brutal experience of my life, trying to deal with the mental health system. And to realize that actually, they don't really care. They don't really care about what EMHIP wants to do, about the change. They will play with us. Oh, here's a little bit of money. And then when I don't meet my target at the end of the month, all of a sudden my organization is not functioning. I haven't met my target. With the little 50,000 they give you, the 100,000, not the 800 million that they have, and they're sitting on the data and the overrepresentation, because they mark their own homework. But actually, us small organizations, oh, we're giving you 10,000, you're not functioning properly. This is the colonial game they've been playing for 500, 600 years. Think global, act local. Understand this is the same mechanisms that are going on. So we set up EMHIP, and the idea of EMHIP was locally controlled early access points for communities. Let people come into a church, New Testament Assembly Church in Tooting, or the Mushkil Asylum Centre in Tooting, staffed by local people, lay people. We we know in mental health you don't have to have 1,000,001 qualifications. You need to have empathy and love and care. And this can be done by lay people. Lay people with a bit of kind of upskilling, a bit of knowledge. They can run the system, like we do in the global world. Like we do in the global world. So we set up this EMHIP project to run hubs in the local community led by local people, with the idea that we'll then move clinical practice out of the system and into the local community. So we've started that in Wandsworth. And if base 10 was where we want to get to, in 4 years of mental health brutality, we've probably got to base 3. Because the system is not interested in an alternative system. But we continue the fight because the struggle is real. So we have to keep going. But we only get stronger when we mobilize. The next meeting we have of this conference should be at the ICB. Let's have our meeting first and then the ICB to meet afterwards. In fact, let the ICB have their meeting here in public. That's how you shift the system. None of them are here today because they don't give an F. Where are they? Where are the senior leaders in relation to mental health who care about everything that we've talked about today? None of them are in this room. That should tell you something about how we are being played and how we continue to be played. So we set up EMHIP 4 years ago. We have 2 centres, New Testament Assembly Church with Bishop Dalroy and Mushkil Hassan Centre with Nassim Abu Bakr. That's as far as we've got. We're very proud of those 2 centres, and we're trying to hold on to them, and we're trying to defend them as sites of resistance. So that's what we have over there. And working very closely with Andrew, we then said, okay, we've got that over there. Let's see if we can start a similar system in Croydon. Brother Andrew.
No.
Brother Terry. Sorry, you're Brother Andrew. I said Brother Andrew and Terry looked at me like, who are you talking to?